Welcome to Frost Astrophotography. In this video I'm going to open the observatory and check the condition after a long summer. I actually haven't been inside more than once this summer when I tied down the roof in a pending storm. I'm going to clean the observatory and I'm going to take the telescope inside for a thorough cleaning as well, and then I'm going to check the computer and update the software. It has held up nicely against the weather. There's hardly anything noticeable about the mount, and not in the observatory as well. Just some dust and some other things that needed a bit of a cleaning out. There is some moisture coming in here through these holes in heavy weather, and that I can think about this season, trying to prevent that from happening. Maybe lubricate the gears on the motor, but that opened fine even though it is several months since the last time I opened it. So I'm going to remove the mount now and take it inside for some cleaning. I have quick connections here, but I'm running the USB 3 as it is, because I had some problems when not doing that. So I can disconnect everything except for the USB 3 to the camera. But it's not a big deal to attach that later on. and get some new zip ties for that. So I'm going to remove this cable here, and then I can disconnect that USB and the 2 power cables. And now I have everything disconnected from the mount here, as you can see. I got everything cleaned out, and now I'm gonna close up the observatory and go ahead and start cleaning the telescope inside. Well, the first thing that I'm gonna do here is to clean the exterior using my vacuum and a brush here. If you're wondering what this is, these are counterweights to keep the optical assembly balance in this direction, because I have a lot of hardware on the left side of the telescope. I need to have a counterbalance weights on the right side here. So there is a separate video on this if you are interested. In general, I would say that an optical assembly that's been outside in my observatory for 1 year exactly is in pretty good shape. There's not a lot of dirt anywhere. I haven't cleaned it outside a single time, so there was some dust here and there. I'm going to clean the optics inside. I'm going to remove the camera here. I'm not going to remove the guide camera because that has been focused, so I'm not going to touch that. I don't think it needs cleaning. But I'm going to remove this main optical assembly here, and I'm going to open up the filter wheel to clean that out inside, because I've had some dust motes, etc. in my images last season. So I want to get that properly cleaned out for this season. I'm going to start off by removing the camera and the filter wheel. I'm not going to open the filter wheel, but I'm going to rotate it once around to make sure that the filters are clean. Camera, filter, spacers, reducer. Back again after a thorough cleaning. And now it's time to look at the front lens of the telescope here. The guide scope, and we have some dust in there. I'm going to take a small cleaning pad and some lens cleaning fluid here. Now it's time for the primary scope. We're going to start with the brush. And now we have a nice and clean telescope, inside and out. I'm going to finish this work off with putting some new tape over these LED lights here, because they are very bright and they can interfere with the imaging. Now this is ready to go outside into the observatory again. I will connect the camera and run the wires with these. I will attach them here, and I will also connect these and secure them so they won't snag in anything when the telescope is moving. Time to put the equipment back inside. Now we need to balance the telescope. We're going to check this way first. As you can see, it's very back heavy here, so we need to move it forward. And now it's a bit front heavy, a little bit back. Something like that. Now this will also change a bit because the focus tube will move out and in a bit depending on the focus, but I have it set to where it's supposed to have a probable focus position. And of course the cover here as well will also affect, but not that much because it's a plastic cover. So I think that's nice. We have a good position here. Now let's check the other axis. Now I think this axis will be fine because I haven't moved the counterweights here, anything. So I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to use my Allen key here to tighten the bolts here, because it's a little bit better than just the grip you get with your hand. And I don't want this to move or get detached. So we're going to attach the cables here. Now you can see that my cables run inside of my concrete pier here, all the way down to the little box there with my computer. And I have a quick connection here for everything but the camera. So I'm going to connect this up. So I have a USB connection here for my USB hub up here, and I have an extra USB 3 cable, high quality, for my camera. Going to run that here with my other cables. Going to put them together. When putting in cables into your ASI294MM Pro or other ZWO camera, please be careful if you have a telescope like mine here, because the focus tube can be very sensitive to friction. So hold it. If you push that too hard, you might disrupt this focus position, and then you need to reinitialize and configure the EAF again. So I have some stripes here. I'm going to stripe these cables together to minimize the chance of them snagging on anything. Now, of course, you will have to account for some movement in this optical train, since you are moving the focus tube in and out. And if you want to be able to move that tube to its maximum and minimum positions, this will actually move quite a bit. So keep in mind that that could happen. So you have to leave some cable here for this to be able to move in and out a bit. And then you can just attach the cables somewhere. Like that. I'm also going to sleeve these cables because I don't want to risk anything snagging here. So I have a larger cable sleeve here that I'm going to pull over these all the way up here. And I'm going to attach that with some zip ties as well. Making sure that they won't get stuck to anything. Now the cables are securely attached here to the telescope, so this will move freely whenever the mount rotate the telescope this way or that way or in the other axis. So this worked out fine for me for a year last season, and I'm not expecting any problems this time as well. Now I'm going to manually put the mount and telescope into observatory park position, and I'm going to have to do a new polar align and then synchronize the settings for the observatory position later. And that also includes pointing the telescope to my Flatmaster LED flat panel that I have mounted here. So in this position I can open and close the observatory without hitting the telescope here. So down inside this box I keep all of my computer equipment. I have a miniature PC here, and that is running Windows and N.I.N.A and all other software that I need. I have a power supply for the computer here, and I have two 10 amp power supplies for my mount and equipment, one for 5 volt and one for 12 volt. So I'm going to log on to the computer here through remote desktop, and I'm going to check to see that I have the latest versions of the software drivers and the software that I need for acquisition. I also have home automation to control the entire observatory, starting with the roof, of course, and then I also have a heater here that I can turn on depending on the humidity inside the observatory. I usually run that for a while after having the observatory open, just to warm the air up and reduce the humidity. And if it gets too hot in here during the summer, I can always turn on this fan here on the wall that is also remote controlled from the inside of my house. Also have sensors here on the wall that can register movement, temperature, humidity and light levels, and that can be handy as well. So it's time to close up the observatory and go inside to start the computer. I'm inside now, and you are looking at the Chrome remote desktop that I use to connect to my computers. I have the observatory computer online here. I can start it outside in the observatory, but I can use Wake on LAN as well to start it remotely from inside. One important thing to consider is that if you have not been using your computer for a while, make sure to get the latest Windows updates installed so you don't have any security leaks in your computer. I have all the apps that I usually use on the desktop here, and I've checked all of the software drivers and versions and concluded that these are the files that I need to update. I'm going to start with the ASCOM platform update. Now, these installations will probably just go through as they are updating the current version on the computer here. But there might be some questions during the installation that we need to address. If you're not having any issues, it might not be necessary to update, but I like to have the latest driver versions for my hardware. So I make it a point to check regularly and update the drivers and versions of the applications that I use. Looks like the installation finished without any problems. I'm gonna click finish here. And moving on to ASI Studio. Now this is a software that I don't use that often, but it is good to have it just to use some components inside the software, like controlling the EAF, for example. So that is why I like to have it installed. Now this also recognized an existing version and uninstalled that before installing this updated version. And click finish on that as well. Now you might want to rearrange some icons again because the installations might move them around. Moving on to the Pegasus Astro Unity platform. Now this is for my Flatmaster 150. I don't use the application outside N.I.N.A. I used the plugin, and I use N.I.N.A. to control this 100%, but it is always nice to have the software installed, and in this case the drivers are integrated into the platform software. They used to have the drivers separately, but now it's a single package for all of their products. I'm going to install the SynScan app drivers now. I don't actually use this now, so it might be a bit redundant to have it, but I like to have all the relevant drivers installed anyway. SharpCap has a new version, so I'm going to update that. Now I don't use SharpCap for anything else than polar alignment at the moment. I can also use it to align my telescope to my Flatmaster, and if I want to do some solar photography, but my camera is really not the best option for that right now. But since I use it anyway for polar alignment, I'm going to update that. I want to update Stellarium. I normally use my mobile telephone for these kinds of softwares, but it is nice to have it on the computer as well. You could also use this software to control your mount, but I don't do that. I use N.I.N.A or the regular ASCOM or EQMod graphic interface to control my mount. Now this installation is quite big, but you could use a web version of Stellarium, but then you won't get all features that are included in the desktop version of the Stellarium app. So I'm going to remove some access icons there. And I'm going to run the ASCOM ZWO ASCOM driver as well, but I don't actually use that too. I use the native ZWO drivers, but it's better safe than sorry, I would say. You can always choose the driver that you want to use inside of the application of choice. So I'm gonna have that installed. Maybe I'll have a ZWO mount in the future, and for that I will use this software as well. And last but not least, the updated package of the ZWO ASI camera drivers. Hopefully this won't break anything, but I always want to have the latest drivers. If there's not an issue, there is probably some fixes that are necessary and good to have. Before I jump back into the computer, I'm going to power all the equipment outside in my observatory. This is my home automation. I can control the fan and the heater in there. I can also see the temperature and other information like the moisture in the air, for example. It's a bit moist outside right now, but not a problem yet, but it's pretty warm for September here. This controls the roof. I'm not going to open that right now because it's almost raining, but I'm going to turn on the power here for the mount and the rest of the equipment. You can see that it tracks the power usage here in real time, 31 watts. Now that is for all of my equipment. connected to the mount. That is for the USB hub and the guide camera, the main camera, and the mount itself. Going to start N.I.N.A here, and N.I.N.A is probably also going to want to be updated. Maybe some of the plugins as well. We will see when we try to start it the first time here. Yes, there is, I have 2.2, now there is a 2.3, release candidate 1. And it's asking me if I want to update. Yes, I want to download that. That usually don't take such a long time. I have a 500 megabit connection inside of my observatory, but it all depends on where you are downloading from. And I'm going to click update here and agree to the terms and conditions. As usual, we are giving away our firstborn child and our pets to the manufacturers when we accept the license agreements. It has finished. I'm going to move that icon up here. And I'm going to start it. Now we are back in N.I.N.A, and as you can see here on the left tab, there is an indication that one of the plugins are in need of an update. You can see here that we have 3 plugins installed, and in the availability tab here, you can see that the Hocus Focus has an update. So we are going to click update here. That is normally a pretty quick process as well. Now it says that it requires a restart. So we're going to click that, and N.I.N.A will restart one more time. We're now back in N.I.N.A. It has started up. We have the latest version. I'm using a preview version. We have the latest versions of the plugins that I use. And now we are going to try and connect all of the equipment. So I'm going to click connect down here. It will ask me to connect all of the devices. I will click OK, and we will hope for the best here. Hopefully we will see some green icons for everything. Camera is connected, the filter wheel, the telescope, and focuser. Rotator, now that is just an application for manually rotating. We have PhD2 guiding, and we have the Flatmaster 150. So it looks like everything has connected nicely. Now I have the lens cap on everything, so this is the guide camera with the lens cap on, so I'm going to stop that. And everything looks nice. We have the EQ mod, and it says here that the mount is parked, and that is correct, it is parked. But we don't have the exact correct observatory park position now because I have manually moved the telescope when I detached it to clean it. So this will be fixed the first time after the polar alignment. I have to do that one clear night, hopefully tonight. After that, I can align the telescope once more and then check to see that my observatory park position is exactly where it should be, because that is crucial for me, because I have my Flatmaster 150 panel on the wall and I want my telescope to be pointing dead center on that to take my flats. That wraps things up. I have cleaned my telescope, I have cleaned my observatory out, I have updated the Windows version with all the security fixes, and I've updated all of the software that I use and the drivers for all of the equipment. And I've tested to see that I can connect to all of the hardware that I have outside in my observatory, and everything seems to be working nicely. So hopefully I will see you in a new video soon, capturing my first object for the 23-24 season. Thank you so much for watching this video, and as always, if you like it, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel if you're not already doing so. If you want to support the production of these videos, there is an option listed in the video description that you can use. Until the next video, I wish you have clear skies.